Hi guys, welcome to Graphic Designer Pro. Today we're going to be taking our vector logo files and turning them into 3D rotating GIFs using Adobe After Effects and Photoshop. We're then going to be uploading them to GIPHY.com so we can use them in our Instagram stories. All the project files that I use in this tutorial are available for a free download via the link in the description below. And if you like this video, remember to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content like this. So let's get into it. So this is our logo that we're going to be turning into a GIF. A GIF can be a great way to add a bit of personality to a brand. For example, imagine you've got a website and you could customize a GIF for a loading screen, for example, or as a profile picture. But we're going to be making a GIF today for Instagram stories. So this is our logo, like I said, and I've just saved it as a standard Illustrator file, and I'm just going to go into After Effects. Okay, now I want to make a new composition in my file. At the moment there's nothing here, there's nothing in my project panel. So I'm going to go up to Composition, New Composition. Now I want my width and height to be 1080 by 1080 because I want to make a square composition. And I'm going to keep my frame rate as 25 frames per second, but you can pick whatever frame rate you're happy to work with. I'm going to have my duration as 2 seconds. When you think about it, any GIFs that you've seen, it's normally one movement that just repeats over and over really quickly. So you don't want anything really long here, so I'd say 1 to 2 seconds maximum, and we'll hit OK. We've now got our square composition here, so let's import our Illustrator file of our logo. So right click in our project panel, import file, navigate to where your logo is saved, select that, open. I'm going to check merge layers. We just want this to come in as one Illustrator file flat, and we're just going to hit OK. So here it is now in our project panel. So let's drag that into our timeline. See, now it pops up. I might just scale this down slightly. So select in the timeline, press S for scale. I'm going to bring this down to maybe about 75%, I think. Yes, happy with that. Okay, now you have to make sure this is a vector file, otherwise this next step won't work. So right click on your logo in the timeline, go to create shapes from vector layer. Okay, so you see it's turned off our Illustrator file, and we now have our logo converted into a shape layer. So at this point I would edit any colors that you want to of your logo. Go into my contents here, and you see it's all separated into the different parts. So I'm going to select group 1, go up to my fill color up here, and I'm going to change this to be a nice dark GDP red color. Copy the color code down here, copy. Okay, I'm going to change the colour of my stroke as well. I'll just paste in that colour code there. Okay, and I'm just going to do that for the rest of my sections of my logo and any different colours that I want to have. Okay, so that's me change the colour of my logo to how I want it to look. So I've got my G, D and the outline as red, and my P, R and O as white. Now we want to make this 3D. So first of all, we need to make our layer 3D. So if you go over to this option here where this little cube is, the 3D cube, and toggle on this 3D layer option. If that option is not there, go down to toggle switches in modes, and you can switch the modes like this. We're now going to go into our transform properties, so minimize up the contents, go into our transform, we're going to go to our Y rotation. We have more rotation options because we've now made this a 3D layer. I'm going to change our Y rotation to be -90. So turned it on its side here, and we're going to extrude this logo. So this is just going to help us, this view, so we can see how much we're extruding it by. So to extrude this, we want to go into geometry options. If this geometry options is grayed out, so you can't select it to go into it like this, there will be an option that says change renderer. If you select change renderer, it'll currently be set to classic 3D. If you go into the drop down, and there'll be a cinema 4D option, change it to be that, and then the geometry options will appear. So go into your geometry options, we go to extrusion depth, and let's change this to be, let's say 150. And you see now it's extruded. Now our anchor point for this is currently, if I select it, is currently at the front of our shape. Now we don't want that, because when we want it to rotate, we want it to rotate from the middle. So we want to change our anchor point position. So go up to our pan behind tool, or our anchor point tool, select it, zoom into our composition, and we just want to move this anchor point across to be in the middle of our shape. Change back to our selection tool by pressing V, go back into our transform properties and go back to our Y rotation value, change that to be 0, and if we rotate it round by dragging along, you'll see it's now going to spin in that center point, which is what we want. So let's turn that back to 0 for now, and 0. So it's a little bit off center, so let's just select it and move the whole thing across slightly so it's in the center of our composition. So we're now at 0 seconds in the timeline. If we toggle on our Y rotation at this point to create a keyframe, just with the value at 0, so our logo is facing the front at that point, go along to roughly 1.5 seconds, about here. We're going to type in here 1, so we want to do 1 full rotation between these two keyframes. I'm going to going to select both these keyframes and press F9 to easy ease them. And now if we let this load, our logo spins. I think what I've done here is, you'll notice I've missed changing the colour of the stroke of the P and the R and the O. If I go back to contents, I have. That's why when you see it like this, it is black on the outside. So I'm going to change that to be white because I want it to be white as well. So I'll just change that quickly. So now when we rotate it, you see now it's all the solid colours that we selected. So just keep that in mind. If you change the fill colour and you want the outline and the shape to be the same, you're going to have to change the stroke as well. So that is how I want it to look. Perfect. Now we want to add some shadows onto this. So to do that, we're going to minimise up everything in the timeline, right click, go to new and select light. Now this will automatically should be a spotlight, and we're just going to keep all the other settings the same. I'm going to hit OK. You see it appears here and it automatically gives us some really quite harsh shadows, so we don't want it to be this close. So we zoom in and we're going to move this Z direction of the light out the way, so pull it out towards you. We're now going to go into the light option here in the timeline where it says light options, and we're going to change the intensity to be 200%. See how much brighter that is now as well. So when it turns now, you see we've got shadows when it is rotating. Okay, we're going to select all these layers in the timeline, right click, pre-compose, call this 3D logo, make sure move all attributes into the new composition is selected, and adjust composition duration to the time span of the selected layers is selected. Okay, what I'm going to do is go over to my effects and presets, I'm going to type in brightness, and select this option here, that's brightness and contrast, and drag this onto my layer. I'm going to go over to brightness and change this to be 150. That's just softened my shadow slightly, so when it rotates it's not as harsh. I'm going to select it in the timeline again, Command D to duplicate it, rename it in the timeline, so select it, press enter, make sure this is on top of the original layer, and call this reflection. Okay. I'm going to go back over to my effects and presets. I'm going to type in fill, drag this fill effect on top of your 3D logo reflection layer. We want to change this colour to be white, okay, and we're going to change the opacity to be 40. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a mask for this layer. So just after 1 second here in the timeline, so I'm at 1 second and 3 frames roughly, I'm going to go up to my pen tool and I'm going to create a mask on this top layer. So to create a mask, make sure that the layer is selected. We want the 3D logo reflection layer to be selected and your pen tool is also selected. What we want to do is draw a thin rectangle shape like this. Close the mask. Now we want to go into our layer here and go into our mask options, mask 1, select mask path, press V on our keyboard to change to the selection tool, select one of our points here and just drag the whole thing across. We want to create a keyframe at this point, so toggle on the stopwatch for mask path. And we want to go to just before the end of the composition, so just before the 2 seconds, select this point again and drag the whole mask across like this to the other side. So now when we go through, this is going to go across and it's going to look like a cool little reflection. So select both those keyframes and press F9 to easy ease those keys. Minimize, minimize. Now you'll notice we haven't created a background at all here, so we can see our transparency grid. You can toggle this on or off if you'd prefer to work on top of a black background while you're working. But this black background is actually transparent because we haven't created a background in our timeline. So why have we not done this? To upload a GIF onto your Instagram stories, it has to have a transparent background. Now that doesn't mean to say that all GIFs have to have transparent backgrounds. If you're using a GIF, for example, for a website header or for a profile picture somewhere, your GIFs will have a background. But to get them to work on Instagram stories, it has to be transparent. So let's say we were going to be creating this for a website, for a little icon or a little loading screen, for example, and we want a background on it. So to create that, we right click, new, solid, okay. Okay, drag it underneath everything, select it, press enter and rename it. So if you're going to be exporting a GIF and you want a background, you can do this directly from After Effects by sending it to the encoder. Go up to Composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue. We then go into this preset here, option, and make sure that this format is set to animated GIF. We then can go down, hit OK, go and choose where you want it to be saved, save, and if we hit play in the top right corner of our media encoder, this will render out in a few seconds. You see it just load down here, and that is exporting as a GIF format. So that's it finished now. If we select our output file, it'll take you directly to where you have saved your file. We right click, open with Google Chrome, and there is our little GIF. So let's just delete out this background. Now you can't export something with a transparent background through the media encoder. You have to do that through the internal renderer in After Effects. So make sure you're in the comp of your logo you want to export. Go up to Composition and add to Render Queue this time instead of add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. Add to Render Queue, so we're going to be using the internal renderer of After Effects. Select this option here that says Lossless, and where it says Channel, select RGB plus Alpha. So what we're doing is we're going to export a video with the Alpha channel. So we're going to be exporting a video with a transparent background. We're then going to bring that into Photoshop to convert that video into a GIF. It's really a few simple steps. Okay, so make sure that is RGB plus Alpha and then hit OK. Choose where you want this to be saved and hit Save. Go along to where it says Render and hit that, and it's just going to render through the same way as it did in the encoder, but this is happening internally inside After Effects. That noise means it's done, which is perfect. Now we want to go into Photoshop. You can actually open videos in Photoshop just like you can open a picture. If you just go into Photoshop and File, Open, navigate to that video that we've just rendered out with no background, hit Open. You see now it's transparent background, and you see down here you've got your little timeline of our GIF that we've made, which is perfect. Now what we want to do is go up to File, Export, Save for Web. So here is our options. So you want to make sure that this option is set to GIF because we're going to export as a GIF format. Your matte is set to none. And we're going to go down here and where it says looping options, make sure this says forever, not just once, because a GIF repeats over and over and over. So that's what we're wanting to make sure here. We're going to hit save, choose where you want it to be saved, final 3D logo, and you see it's going to save as a GIF format. Save, and this will just take a few seconds, just like you were saving a picture. And that's it. So now what we want to do is get this onto Instagram stories. So how do we do that? So let's go to GIPHY.com. So we want to get this GIF to be a searchable sticker on Instagram stories. So for that to happen, it needs to be approved on GIPHY. And for that to happen, you need to have an account first and foremost. So if you don't have an account, if you go to login and join GIPHY here, like this, log in and create your own username and password. I would suggest using, if you're an artist or a designer, using your work email or a professional email if you have one. To get your GIFs approved, you have to be approved as an artist. So it's good to have sensible usernames, sensible email addresses, things like that you're logging in with. So I'm going to log in as Graphic Designer Pro. Okay, now I've logged in. This is my account. To get your stickers to be searchable on Instagram, you have to be approved as a brand or artist. Now this process is really simple. It took me no longer than 24 hours to create an account, be approved as an artist, and then have my sticker available on Instagram stories. So here is my GIPHY channel. Now, I would suggest having at least 5 different GIFs uploaded before you apply to be an artist. This just shows that you're a real person creating content, and it makes the whole approval process just a lot easier. So to upload our GIF, let's just upload our new one now. If you go to Upload, go to where it says Choose File. I'm going to select our GIF that we just created, open. You see how it's transparent in the background, and this is the one we've just created, and it looks really cool. So adding tags, this is what you're going to search on Instagram to find your logo once you've created it and it's been approved. So I'm going to type in a few different things here. Don't include the hashtag, it'll do that for you. So I'm going to do GDP, GD Pro, I'll type Graphic Designer Pro. Make sure you put spaces in between your words if you're doing it like this. I'll put these 3 tags at the moment. So you want to make them relevant to what your actual GIF is. Make sure the rating is set to G and just click Upload to GIPHY and it'll just upload to your channel. So you can upload as many GIFs as you want to your channel, but until you're approved as an artist, you won't be able to find them on Instagram. So that's the upload complete. You see now we have our logo in our main dashboard, which is what we want. If I go to my main dashboard, perfect. So I would suggest uploading your logos, even if it's different colorways. You see I've got different colorways here. You can upload options with backgrounds for use in other things as well. To apply to be an artist, go up to these 3 dots here, go to Support, where it says GIPHY for brands and artists, apply for an artist channel. Now all you need to do is click this option here where it says digital and visual artists can apply right here. And it gives you a few tips on how you can be approved quicker. And I would just follow them. So have an avatar image relevant to what your channel is. So say you're a designer and you've got a little logo or something like that for your business or for your brand. Upload it as your avatar image and also post a link to your website portfolio if you've got something like that, or say a Facebook page where you post your work, or an Instagram page, things like that, because somebody will actually look at this and approve you to know that you're a real person and you're not doing anything you shouldn't be doing. And And like it says here, make sure you've got 5 to 10 pieces of work already uploaded to your GIF channel. So I've already been approved, so I don't need to do that, but it's honestly so easy. You'll get an email saying you're approved when you have been. And when that happens, you go back to GIPHY. All you need to do is just wait. You don't have to do anything else. Because we've already uploaded our GIF and we've already set the different tags for it to be searchable on Instagram, it may take up to 24 hours for it to appear on Instagram, but it will be there. By the time this video goes out, you should be able to search GDP, GD Pro or Graphic Designer Pro and find our logo that we've just made and uploaded. So that's it guys, we've created our 3D logo in After Effects, exported it with a transparent background and put it through Photoshop to get our GIF format, created an account on GIPHY, we've been approved as an artist, we've got our GIF uploaded and it's now searchable on Instagram and you can use it on your Instagram stories. It's as easy as that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content like this. See you in the next one. If you want to learn more about graphic design, we've created a free 1-hour training where you'll discover the top 5 secrets of successful designers, which saves you the hassle of having to figure it all out for yourself. We'll be showing you how to immerse yourself in the sector you're designing for, creative thinking and how to spark creativity, what good composition is and how you can achieve it in your designs, how to pick the right colours for your designs, and how to pick the right typefaces for your projects. So if you're serious about levelling up your design skills, then make sure to sign up for the next free webinar. Space is limited and these events always fill up fast because they're significantly better than the information others charge you for, and ours is free. The link's in the description, you're not going to want to miss it. I'll see you there.